Hey, do you guys hear me? Cool. We'll be starting in 13 minutes. A lot of static. Hmm. I'm bad at computers. Well, we'll just go with roll with the static today, and I'll try to get it fixed for tomorrow. I actually have like my mic set up in a really funny way right now. I have a much better mic somewhere that I'll plug in for tomorrow. I have pretty sick bedhead right now because I just got up. I don't have time to take a shower. I wanted to throw this show up and go, so I'm wearing a hat. I'll be right back. Alright. Got my cup of green tea. All the VODs will go up on my YouTube. I found out how to send them from Twitch to YouTube, so they'll all be on there in HD. I don't know how long it takes them to upload, so probably within a day. So if you miss it, it's fine. You can just check it out there. I guess I have to wait. I want to start right now, but I said it was going to start in 10 minutes, so I guess that's what I have to do. Alright, let's see. In the meantime, I guess, I'll answer questions for you nice guys sitting around in the stream. Let's go ahead, ask away. Try to answer some. Try to keep it mostly Starcraft related. Yes, there will be Zerg analysis, Terran analysis, and Protoss analysis. I'm not holding this just to Zerg like my stream. Obviously, my stream is only Protoss because that's the race I'm playing right now. But for instance, today I will be doing ToD versus NaDa, and that's like a really long game, and I'll probably have time. I have a replay of Juan, that's the old 6x Terran, and that's going to be against Neste, and so that's a TVZ. And yeah, so there'll be all the races. Alright, let's see. A High Templar expand in PVT. I used to expand into High Templar when there was Amulet, but not High Templar before expand. I do like 3-gate Robo into High Templars at my expansion after I had a few sentries. It's pretty cool. But without the amulet, it's better to just do it the way that people like Oz do it right now. How important are good practice partners? They become important when you get really good. When you're not really good, you can just ladder and build up a ton of base skills. And until you're like high masters on whatever server you're on, practice partners don't matter as much. Do you think Liquid Hero get through Code A tonight? Yeah, probably. I don't remember who's first though. How do you hold off early pressure after expanding around 5 to 6 minutes in PvT? Well, I mean, you have to make units non-stop, really. You need force fields, you need good micro, and you need decent units, so those are all pretty important. I've plateaued at 800 masters. How do I keep improving? Well, you stop doing whatever builds you were doing, probably. Most people do terrible builds to get up high. Builds that aren't really going to help you to improve. You need to practice macro-type builds. What do I think about the upcoming patch changes? That is a good question. I was not able to talk about this to anyone. +2 to Phoenix range is too much. It's like ridiculous. I don't know what I feel about the ghost changes yet. I think that late game against Brood Lords and Ultras, they were too good. I don't know about not being able to kill other stuff, though. It's hard to say. Then the last change is Mule. That makes sense. I don't know about my opinions on the snipe one yet. Finkel nearly won a top 8 webcast. I don't know what that is. Is that Magic? Is John Finkel actually playing Magic again? That'd be crazy. Gorillionaire is so funny. I'm gonna have to tweet in a second about this. Get people coming over. What? I don't care. Tweet. What is this? I'm so confused. Oh, there it is. Okay. Whoa. Yeah, my stream will be up there in a minute. I've never done something like this before. I think it just pops up when my event comes up. So that'll go up there and then we'll start. That's a good question. What do you think about the map changes of upcoming season? Glad Zelnaga Caverns is finally out. Yes. Glad Zelnaga Caverns is out. I'm glad that that terrible desert map is out. What a terrible map that desert map is. Oh my god, that map is bad. I loved the idea behind it, but it's such a clunky, kind of gross, weird, like, ugh. But yeah, I'm really excited about these new maps. I love them putting in more pro maps. It's just going to make practicing on the ladder so much better for everyone. More fun to watch StarCraft even because it's like maps that you've played now. I always found that to be a problem when people weren't actually playing maps that they were watching. It's like, it's more fun when you're like, oh, I know, it's so hard to hold this third base or something. And then you see how they do it and you're like, oh, look at that. It's so much fun. Oh. Yeah, I'll continue to stream. I'll be streaming my laddering and stuff coming up again. I've actually been practicing a lot lately. Got into really, really good shape compared to what I was playing before. Not as good as I feel like I could do, but for how much time I've been practicing, I'm really happy with where I'm at. I'll start doing that more. I just wanted to make sure that I was at least putting out some analysis coming up here. Can you imagine yourself doing anything other than casting or playing StarCraft professionally? No. No, I don't want to work at Walmart, and I can't do anything else. So... let's see if this is up yet. No, not yet. 2 minutes. 2 minutes till we start. Who is honestly the best Zerg in the world? It is DRG. I don't question that even a little bit. I really think he is. And I have for a while now, not just because of the last round of GSL. After I saw him against MMA, actually, where he actually should have won like 6 of the games, I was like, oh my god, what? Do you envision yourself playing Terran as a main race in the future? I don't know. I really don't know. It's a possibility. I'm enjoying Protoss right now. I've put a lot of work into it recently. I have a very unique style that I'm enjoying, so I'm not planning on just switching anytime soon. Oh, DRG won the FXO tournament. That's cool. I'm not surprised. Yeah, the DRG MMA thing is amazing. One minute. 1 minute. How do you feel about the possibility of HOTS coming out next year rather than this year? Look, I'm really excited for HOTS. I think it's going to be an amazing expansion set and make the game better. But I really don't care. I'm just so happy. I'm just playing all the time. As much as I can, watching what I can. Whatever, man. Alright, looks like it is time. Guys, let everyone know that the show has started. Oh, even Sundance retweeted me. What a sweetie pie. Alright, let's get this started. Alright, so I've never done this before. I'm excited about it. Basically, what I'm going to try to do with this show... Well, here, let me start this over. Alright, welcome to the Artosis Hour. I am going to be analyzing high-level games. That's what I'm going to be doing. I don't even know exactly how the format will go. I'm going to be looking for a lot of feedback, see how people like it. And basically, I'm just going to load up a replay, pause a lot, look through it, look at things I like, things I don't like, ask questions, that type of thing. So I hope you enjoy it. The first game today is going to be Todd against NaDa. Let's get this started. I'm really excited about this. I loved streaming with analysis of my own games before, and I've just kind of been erratic with it, so I wanted to make more regular content of that. I don't think that there is, there's very little high-level analytical stuff out there, even though every single master player in the world right now is streaming and saying that it's high-level analysis. Some of it is, some of it isn't. So I hope to just kind of give the community, some, at least a few hours a week of like some really high level looking at the game. So let's go ahead and look at this. The map is going to be Shakur's Plateau. It's NaDa, who recently just quit OGS, but one of the greatest RTS players of all time, going up against Todd. And Todd is one of the greatest Warcraft 3 players of all time, and very quietly one of the best foreign Starcraft 2 players. He is Grandmaster on the Korean ladder. He plays with many of the best pros every single day. If you ever get a chance to watch him stream or anything, definitely check him out. He's extremely good. Like, he's gonna bust out suddenly, and everyone's gonna be like, "Whoa, what? Why is Todd finishing so highly?" He's very, very good. I've watched him play quite a bit. So, it's Shakur's Plateau PvT. Let's go ahead, and I'm gonna go ahead and fast forward a little bit until we get to something interesting. This is a very long game. Look at that, 1 hour and 2 minutes. And this isn't on commentary, so I can show you the replay progress bar, and it doesn't actually matter. Right? I'm actually just doing this to analyze this replay. Alright. First things first. He puts down the pylon, doesn't scout. Let's see when he does choose to scout. Probably just going to be after Gateway. Oh, no. He's actually scouting before Gateway. Okay. Now, this is actually an okay scout timing for this map. Because if you wait a little bit too long on some maps, like, for instance, let's say that NaDa built his first depot up here, and then throws down the barracks, and then decides, okay, his probe isn't here yet, I'm going to throw down another depot. Maybe not make it all the way, but just throw it down. Then Todd can't scout. Now, this scout timing works on this map, I think, because it is basically like a 3-player map. Like, if you're here, they're definitely at one of these two. If you had to check all 4 mains, then that is kind of a silly time to scout. Like, you may or may not get information, and in that case I almost would go with, Show's old approach of why scout. Get your information or don't get it. Don't just flip a coin like, oh, I might get information. But on this map, this may work. He may have this timed out right, so that's fine. That's just something I will be pointing out a lot in Protoss vs. Terran replays. The scout timing of a lot of Protosses I disagree with immensely. So anyways, he's going to come right out here and start harassing. Now, NaDa is making a Macarax over there. And notice this. Look at this. Oh, I love that. This is something that you should always do with your probe. I feel like this is the best thing you can do with your probe once you get to the Terran base. And in fact, that's one reason why scouting a little bit earlier with Protoss, you can kind of negate the disadvantage it puts you at mineral-wise, because notice he attacks this SCV some, right, until another one comes up. Then he attacks this one until his shields are gone, then runs. Now, a lot of people probably already know this, but this is just a really smart move, because your shields are going to suddenly recharge a lot, and the more SCVs you damage, the better. Let's say you're doing a Warp Prism drop later. Let's say he's doing some sort of Marine SCV all-in. Let's say that, he's repairing something with these SCVs, building something, and you can snipe them. Maybe you go Phoenixes and pick them up. Damaging as many SCVs as possible is good, and he's making SCVs chase him quite a bit. So that's good. This SCV is losing mining time. And it's not scouting Todd. This is not like a scout SCV that's losing mining time. This is just additional mining time lost for NaDa, and all Todd has to do is put in APM. So it's a good move. Now, it looks like NaDa's build right here, he's trying to make it look like it is going to be. Let's see if he's going to scout that. No. Oh, wow, look at that. Does not see it. And NaDa chases away the probe. So right now, this looks to him, if I'm Todd right now, I'm like, alright, this is a quick command center. This is a 1 racks fast expansion with no gas. So most likely what we're going to see is Todd perhaps pull guys off gas. We'll see if he actually does. You don't have to, but that's something that some players do. And we might see a Nexus as quick as 20. We might see a Nexus as slow as 24 or 26. We'll have to see exactly what he wants to do for that. But it's just a very standard counter. Now, NaDa may be able to put on some pressure with these Marines. We'll have to see exactly how he wants to do it. Is he going to send SCVs or something like that? And just constantly building Marines here. And there we go. Todd puts up that Nexus. And let's see his unit count. He did wait for 1 Stalker. And he does have 22 probes, just throwing up additional gateways, it looks like. Now, probably he'll throw up 2 gateways, and it looks like he is going to go ahead and start chronoing out the warp gate, this is a great time to chrono out warp gate, is when you do this fast expansion. So, and well, let me explain that actually a little bit. I'm not a huge proponent of getting out a quick warp gate. I like to make some units out of here and chrono boost probes more if possible for economy. But if you're doing for this fast expansion, you want to be able to get enough units out to stop quick attacks. So chrono boosting out possibly units, but more likely the gateway, so that your additional gates that you're adding a little bit later can pump out units immediately. A very good use of chrono boost. In the meantime, his Stalker's going to be scouting the map. His probe is kind of playing around over here, but NaDa's Marines are on the way. And once they get a watchtower, Todd can't really get the watchtowers. He's going to have to decide, oh, do I like sit up here with the Stalker? Do I sit down here with the Stalker? Do I sit back here with the Stalker? Do I sit here with the Stalker? Or do I sit here with the Stalker? And that's actually some important things to look into. So let's... Alright, so the probe saw these Marines. He sees like, oh wait, that's like kind of a funny amount of Marines. And, look at this. Okay. Todd canceled the Nexus. I love that. Alright, there are so many Protosses out there. Some of the best Protoss players in the world, top pro gamers, won't cancel a Nexus. They'll just be like, nah man, I'm just going to migrate out, man. No. No. A lot of the times that's stupid. Right now to Todd, he's like, wait, why are these Marines out here? This doesn't make a lot of sense. What has NaDa seen? NaDa has not, in fact, seen even the Cybernetics Core. He has not seen the Nexus. So the fact that NaDa has the bravery to be over here when he doesn't have full scouting information, Todd is a little bit scared. He's like, wait a minute, I don't want to die. I'd rather the game go on, and I perhaps have a small disadvantage. If we look over here, NaDa just starting his command center now, and it's quite often that Terran will actually go ahead and expand, before the Protoss. So it's not a huge deal if his Nexus goes down after the command center. It's not the biggest deal in the whole world. But the fact that he just doesn't want to lose the game right now, I have total and utter respect for Todd for doing something like that. So he's just going to go ahead and start microing. Now this is not actually a huge threat. It's not. And could he have not canceled the Nexus and lived through this? It's hard to say because he only made one Stalker. He was trying to add some additional gateways. Now, he did take out the SCV, and that makes me think that he would have been fine. But, I mean, look at this. Still doing a lot of damage here, taking out a lot of probes. Let's take a look at that. This was a great rush by NaDa. That is, he just traded, how many Marines? He traded 6 Marines and 1 SCV. That's what that is. To kill off 6 probes and force a Nexus cancel. That was beautifully done by NaDa. And not just that, he now has more infrastructure than a just standard one barracks expansion. If he goes 1 barracks expansion like he showed, then Todd has out a nice quick Nexus, similar, but he killed off a lot of probes, and that is just so nice, and it's just for Marines. Really good move there by NaDa. It just looks like he's going to tech up to very normal play. Todd, in the meantime, just going to throw that Nexus back down again. He's not like, oh, I have to all in or anything like that. He has a few units, going to go and poke the front with them. And realize, oh, this is not the greatest thing. He just uses the shield on both. And, oh, look at that. That was bad. He messed that up a little bit. And that's because some Marines walked around. We have to go back and look at that. I missed that. I'm sorry. Okay, so he actually kept 3 Marines over here. This is such an interesting little thing that happened. And NaDa actually didn't really have vision of those Stalkers leaving, but it's kind of safe to assume that they're going to put Stalkers in front of your base. You don't want to send a probe out. He's already lost probes, all right? He's killed off the Marines on his side of the map. As a Protoss, you're going to want to at least bring a Stalker over and sit it in front so that if anything's coming down, you see it, because the Stalker can outrun anything as long as Concussive Shell doesn't hit it. So you could easily outrun. So, this is kind of NaDa assuming that Todd's going to play well. So NaDa sending down the 3 Marines that he left, and he's going to get a lot of scouting intel. Notice that he sees the barracks. In the meantime, these Stalkers trying to micro. Now, this lines up perfectly. Todd does have the Stalker chasing this, but this is 3 Marines. He might be able to take out some probes. And Todd doesn't want to lose more probes. So this actually becomes kind of an interesting little thing where what fronts do you actually pay attention to? Todd did a little bit of micro here, and now it looks like he's going to switch over to over here. And there we go. He's grabbing probes. And in that time, NaDa's Marines were attacking his Stalker. He lost one, almost lost another one. And now how many probes are we going to have that are dead? And now NaDa, through that little 3 Marines coming down, he killed 3 more probes, and he got to kill this Stalker, and he put some damage on another Stalker. So far, NaDa has outplayed Todd. Todd has made great moves, but NaDa is ahead right now. Todd continuing very standard play, throwing up that robo. Let's fast forward this a little bit, try to find something interesting. Just getting the stem, getting the engineering bay. Pretty standard overall. Looks like he's going to go factory. Yep, there it is. Todd's starting to throw out some sentries, build up his sentry count a little bit. And a warp prism. Now, I love warp prism play. This is a great map for it. These are good positions for it, in fact. You know, the travel distance for the warp prism is not that far. And warp prism drops against Terran are so nice. You know, you can force field in some SCVs. In some scenarios, you can force field the ramp and start warping things in. And sometimes that can result in, like, just straight up a win. But I would say from the way that this game has looked so far, he's not going to try something like that. The timing feels a little bit off. It's hard to explain exactly, but Todd doesn't have anything at home. Like, let's say he does that, and then there's like a counterattack, and you know, NaDa uses units that pop out plus SCVs. I feel like this is just not a good timing for that. So this looks like it's going to be a sentry drop that just goes ahead and harasses SCVs, but we'll see that in a minute. Now, something interesting to see is when will Todd take these additional gases. He's spending a lot of gas right now. Getting these sentries ready. That was a nice scan by NaDa. Didn't get a whole lot of information. In fact, hold the phone. We have to go back. Hold on, hold on. We have to look at this. I think Todd might have just done something really quite amazing. Holy crap. Did he actually do this? Okay, watch this, watch this, watch this. He canceled the warp prism. It was done, he canceled it, and rebuilt it. Now, this goes to show, I mean, this is something we don't see much right now in Starcraft 2. This is actually such an intelligent move. This Todd guy, he's pretty smart. If NaDa sees the warp prism pop out, what does the warp prism do? Nothing. Nothing ever at all, ever. For any reason will this do anything. NaDa is too smart to let that happen. So, NaDa scans there, and of course he's going to be glimpsing out. He's like, oh, it's making okay. And what NaDa's probably doing right now, look at the screen, is, you know, he's over here, he's like making some stuff, putting up a turret, bouncing back, looking over here, bounce back, look, etc. So he is looking to see if this happens. Now, Todd canceling that, this still gives him the possibility of a surprise. So he just traded all that build time. And I mean, that's one less unit, man. Let's look. The build time of 50, 55 for an immortal. He could, I mean, he could have let it finish, then made an immortal, you know? But instead of making an immortal right this second, he's going to be making another warp prism. The first warp prism over again. It's just, that's like a hard choice to make, and Todd made it, which is very, very nice. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look. So double gas right now. I kind of like this timing. He waited until he got his probe count back up, because remember, he lost 9 probes. Now I feel like if he hadn't lost all those probes early on, we definitely would have seen these a lot quicker. With a robo coming out, you want to get observers, you want to get the immortals, and of course, Protoss overall, you're going to need sentries. If you're going Colossus tech, that's a lot of gas. If you're going to go upgrade tech in Twilight, that's a lot of gas, and you're probably getting thrown immortals as well. So you need to get those 4 gas very quickly. And I like how he just kind of stalled it out a little bit here, instead of just throwing it up with a normal build order. He's looked at it and said, I lost some probes. I'm going to go ahead and be a little bit smarter about this. So it looks like he is going to go Forge. And then we're going to see a sentry drop coming out. Now, Todd does have the watchtower. He's watching from both with his stalkers because they can run away. And if you're going to do this, you have to keep your eye on the minimap, because if, like, for instance, these units come up and just kill a stalker, or even kill this stalker and then keep moving forward so that this stalker doesn't have time to get back into the main base, does Todd have enough to hold this off without these stalkers? It gets a little bit risky, but this is a good scenario for Todd. We have NaDa moving out. He doesn't really know what's happening right now with this Warp Prism drop. And, you know, Todd, as long as he has good warpins, he has 2 gates that are cooled down. His supply is not capped. His other gate, almost cooled down. Very close. He's making just an observer right now, which, I mean, that's fine. He's getting his double forges up. But he's basically just going to have to try to hold this off as best he can. If he can stop this attack from doing any damage, his sentry drop is going to do wonders, because 4 sentries, he's not going to warp anything in with it, I would say, unless NaDa turns around. If he sees NaDa turn around, sure, warp things in, but as is, NaDa's army is out of position against this. So let's see, is he going to run this? Very good. Very well done there. He's already warped in some additional zealots. He has some force fields. NaDa just keeping the watchtower right now, which is fine. The factory coming out, and let's take a look at this. Oh, he has actually switched this up because he's a little bit scared of this, and that's fine. That is actually, I love the better safe than sorry mentality here. Okay, this is not a scenario where Todd is going to lose if he doesn't do a 4 sentry drop. It's not that at all. Instead, he's like, I might lose if I don't have enough sentries here. My gas is a little bit low. I can't warp in enough sentries to hold this ramp indefinitely while dropping 4 of them over here. Now, could he have possibly left a sentry or 2 in here to maybe, throw a force field up there, force field up there, and trap some SCVs to kill? Yeah, he might have been able to, but he's taking safety as the #1 precaution. He doesn't want to lose this game. He's not just gambling. He's not gambling and saying, oh, he'll come back, ha, or, oh, I'll have enough force fields that he'll run away eventually, realizing he can't get up my ramp. So it's just really great decision making from Todd overall here. And he just picks up and gets out of there. NaDa wasn't really able to do very much. So it looks like we have the Twilight and the Forges going. It's very standard, adding additional gateway. Now this part, let's take a look at this. This is actually pretty interesting. NaDa is doing this little lift up. Todd does have the Observer here, so he sees exactly what's going on. Now, the nice thing is, look at this unit count. These are the tanking units. Obviously, there's going to be a Guardian shield if they actually engage. Then he has enough Stalkers to force the Medivacs to go away. Basically, if Todd micros this correctly, this is done for. Okay, he can kill these Medivacs if they try to stay too close. These units on the high ground really aren't going to kill very much. And NaDa scanned. He's a little bit nervous about it. He's like, oh, let me see what units he has, what's coming. Like, if this was all Zealots and Sentries, he probably stays here and does this. But I'm pretty sure he's going to run away here, yeah. That's just too many Stalkers, so that's a really good choice there. Alright. That was like weird force fields, but whatever. Alright. Really quick Templar Archives. Now, he is getting charged first, so that means that obviously he doesn't want to overmake Stalkers. He wants a lot of gas for High Templars, but will it be for Psystorm or will it be for Archons? I feel like it's, right now the High Templars, quick High Templars off 2 base are coming back into style, but it wouldn't necessarily be bad to go Zealot Archon just to have like a very mobile, quick army and take a 3rd base, but we'll have to see exactly what Todd wants to do for that. In the meantime, a good scan to get rid of the Observer. I feel like in this scenario, NaDa should be scanning a lot to kill all the Observers off because Todd is spending all of his gas. He's going to be very gas low. NaDa knows about the double forge, I do believe. Let's take a look. He saw 1 forge. When you see 1 forge, there's normally a 2nd one. And on this map, you're not really going to go Colossus 2 forge. It's not going to be how you like open up. It's pretty difficult to go for that there. Entombed would be a better map for that because you can actually take a 3rd at that point. But it's like too greedy to go 2 forges then Colossus right away here. So, I like the killing of the Observers because that means he has to spend more and more gas on Observers. Knows he already has some queued up. Right now has no Observers. Does have the Warp Prism. And I kind of like this spot for the Warp Prism. It's going to see any incoming drops and possibly be able to harass a little bit more later. So NaDa getting a little bit more infrastructure up. Another command center for his expansion. Has the watchtowers, holding them very well. And, alright. So, Todd has that probe up there. Now, let's see. Has it started, oh, okay, there goes Storm. And so it looks like he does want to go up to Psystorm, but this is the scary part. Notice this beautiful Observer placement. This is, when you're on the defensive taking additional bases, this is normally what you want to do. The thing is, if you send an Observer over the Terran army, a lot of the time they are just going to scan and kill it off. And if they scan and kill it off, suddenly you don't know, where is he? Where is he? Do I send probes out? That's kind of weird. If you send the probe too far, then they just come up and kill it. This is giving him a lot of intel. NaDa's going to have to be paying insane attention to the ground up here. And, with his 400 APM multitasking, macroing everything, landing his command, transferring SCVs, building depots, building a Ghost Academy, all that stuff, it's likely that he won't see this observer that's just stationary, and all this observer's doing, look at it's placed exactly where he wants it. Nothing can approach his base without him seeing it, and it's just high enough up that it can still see the bottom of the ramp area, and it can see anything that's going towards where he wants to make a third. So just a really well-placed observer here. So let's see what Todd wants to do against this. Alright, now this is a little bit of a scary scenario. I like this attack by NaDa. He's like, oh, okay, let's see what we can do. Charge lots obviously can be very good against Terran, and NaDa does have a supply lead. So, and I mean, look at, he doesn't have a lot of charge lots. Good upgrades, 1-1 against 1-0, but where's his splash damage? It's a very sentry-heavy army. This is a scary spot right now for Todd. If I'm Todd right here, I'm like, oh, you know, like, I would be most scared if NaDa picked up some units here and dropped in front with one medevac, because then suddenly it's like, oh, I kind of have to send my army against that, and then all the stuff on the low ground hits it, so the force fields aren't really doing their job. So this is pretty scary. Let's take a look how he deals with this. And warped in some more High Templars. Psystorm is only about halfway done. This, I feel like in this situation, warping in High Templars here, I mean, obviously he wants to get Psystorm as quickly as possible, but it might have been smart to quickly feed back some of the medevacs and make them into Archons, and then have an army that can actually fight with this. But, you know, he does have a lot of force fields, so he may just be saying, okay, now my Stalkers are down here, you can't really lift anything up and drop it in front. You know, I can buy time with these force fields, get a Psystorm, and if you're still doing this when my Psystorm finishes, and this is a quick Psystorm, NaDa probably doesn't expect Psystorm quite yet. He might be beginning to because he sees some High Templars up here. But if a Psystorm hits that right now, Todd rolls out here, and NaDa has to run, and that's that. He just has to run. So, really interesting set of choices there. And, ooh, look at that. He does end up using some feedbacks, and does, in fact, go for the Archon. Okay, so Todd liked that idea, too. And he still has a High Templar in there, at least, or a few. Psystorm is done. His upgrades are finishing up. He's going to have 2-2. The medevacs are out of energy. NaDa has 1-1. So right now, Todd, you know, he can warp in a few more units and probably roll out and be fine. Let's take a look at what NaDa's doing. Not upgrading his ghost quite yet. Not making the ghost quite yet, it looks like. Yeah, no ghosts. Gets his third down. Interesting third location. That is an interesting third location. A lot of times you'll see Terran expand here. When they expand here, well, you know, against this tech of Todd, I actually kind of like this expansion. Because where are engagements going to be? You know, if NaDa expands here, where are engagements going to be against Todd's army? Engagements are going to be right here. That's where they're going to be. Todd most likely not going to walk up here and go down like that. That's because then NaDa's, you know, it's kind of the same thing. NaDa has like this surface area and this surface area, and Todd's like going down into a flank. If Todd comes through here, NaDa just has a big concave right there. Now, if he expanded up here, NaDa expanded up here, where do the battles happen? They happen out here in the open, and that's what charge lots want. That's what NaDa doesn't want. NaDa wants to have some sort of sick concave because of terrain. And so I like this expansion against the tech that Todd has done here. Now, if Todd had gone for Colossus, would he have expanded here? Because I feel like then, you know, you're sitting here with your Colossus, you're hitting it, and if he tries anything, you just force field. So I feel like this is probably NaDa's choice based specifically upon the tech route of Todd, which I love switching what expands you're going to because of a tech route. It's really, really smart. So Todd starts an additional base. The additional base, kind of interesting where he's putting this. He had to sneak his probe up here because he didn't want it to get killed when it was over here. And this is just going to take a lot longer for any counterattacks to get to. I'm not exactly sure how much I like it because it's very hard to defend this spot from drops if NaDa does go up there. Let's see here. Pretty standard stuff right now. No 3-3 started quite yet. Looks like Todd just wants to get a very strong army out. Nice location by NaDa, holding that watchtower. Does he have ghosts yet? He has a ghost on the way, but it looks like he has no ghosts out yet. So right now in this army, we have, oh my god, 5 High Templars, 5 Sentries, a couple Archons, a Mortal. This is a great army by Todd right now. If they were to meet before Ghosts, then Todd with proper micro should be able to beat NaDa's army pretty handily. Even though NaDa has more supply, he just doesn't have quite the right counters yet. But with those Ghosts popping out, he's going to feel, fine. Go ahead and fast forward some, try to find something really interesting here. Oh, that's interesting. Huh. A single cannon at the ramp. I mean, that's going to make it much harder to do run-bys. High Templars are normally used for drops, but of course, if he tries to run up this ramp with units, the point of this cannon looks to me to be, this is like something we would see in Starcraft 1 a little bit. Like, let's say that there's some sort of multitasking going on or something. Let's say that Todd's army is not exactly in the right position. If I'm not, I might run a group of units and try to attack up this ramp and hit this base as opposed to drop. I might do the drop, I might do the run up. Either one could happen, because a lot of times he's going to be poking here anyways to see if there's a base here. Now remember, he didn't know about this base until that Marine just went up. So this was like a pre-made idea by Todd. So if you're coming up here to poke here, it's going to be a ground force. You're not really going to drop this location as much. There's going to be more walking to it overall at this point in the game. So if he's trying to go up this ramp, then Todd, everything's in a bottleneck and Todd can just storm it. The cannon just holds it there for just long enough, because of course it's going to start attacking that the second it goes up the ramp. You have stuff on attack move and stuff like that. So you have it on attack move, it attacks once, Todd's like, oh, base is under attack, tabs over here, grabs this, storms, and the damage is done. The cannon held everything, made it all clump for just long enough to get a storm off. I like that idea. It's a really, really intelligent play. And this is my favorite thing to see in the whole world. Notice the second robo going up at the same time as the robotics bay. His opponent is going Ghosts, which counters his composition pretty well. If he gets EMPs off on those High Templars, and of course some sentries will be hit on the way and everything, then this army will melt. He really needs a splash damage to that. But with him going Ghost right now, do we have any Vikings? Nope, no Vikings, and that's smart, because there's no Colossus yet. But he's going to switch over into big-time Colossus production. And that's going to give him a bit of power until NaDa gets his Viking count up. So I really like that. And there we go, a drop coming out. Dealt with totally fine, just with some Warpins and High Templar play. Throwing up some cannons, I love that. Yep. And Todd has successfully defended that expansion. Okay, so I like that a lot right there. Throwing up those force fields. Basically right now, Todd does not want to get EMP'd, and he doesn't want to engage his army right this second. Todd is at a very weak point right now because he's doing his tech transition. That is the moment where you're going to be scared. Look at the resources he's put into this tech switch. He's put in 2 Colossus, that's 600 minerals, 400 gas, and the 200 of this. Let's not forget adding the robo and adding the robotic support. So overall, he's put in like over 1,000 gas and well over 1,000 minerals to this tech switch, and he has nothing from it yet. So overall, he doesn't have the power that he's spent. Like, he's spent a certain amount of money for a certain amount of power, and he doesn't have it right now. So he's just buying time with force fields, and that's why he's warping in some units over here, so that NaDa can't just come over here and run up here and crush this area. With all the psi storms and the feedbacks that could occur on drops, and psi storms on things coming up the ramp, this is going to be a hard location for him to actually break. This is the easier location right now. You just can walk up and do some EMPs and stuff. So just force fielding that off, pushing some High Templars over here, both to catch medevacs with feedback and to possibly storm if it comes up to the edge too close. Excuse me, great moves. Just buying time for those Colossus. In the meantime, NaDa realizes, okay, I have map control. Time to take another base. NaDa trying his best to get some EMPs off there as we saw, but Todd quickly moved it back. I love it. Todd probably will wait for range to actually move down his ramp. And of course range should line up with some more Colossi coming out. Ooh, that one's a little bit late. And he's maxing out as well. So this all looks really smart and really nice. Notice he is trying to go up here. Going up through the ground. Bam, there's that storm I was talking about. Didn't even matter this time because he has so many units up there, but could have done that. Now this is cute. command center in the middle, no doubt going to be a planetary fortress. He does have double starport up to make plenty of Vikings. Right now the Viking count is only 2, but he is making 4 more. So keeping that going. Both players upgrading 3-3 at similar times. NaDa's looks like it will finish a little bit beforehand. NaDa staying up about a base. You know, his bases are just a little bit quicker than ToD's. They're always finishing up as ToD's are starting, which is fine. You know, ToD is playing a defensive-based game right now for Protoss. You know, he's getting sick unit compositions. He's playing good defense. And so you can take your bases later like that. Nice little drop here. NaDa's got to start to get some drops on. Has to start trying to do some sort of damage. I love that. Notice that Todd puts his tech all over here. This is something that happens to players that move to Korea and start practicing in Korea. There's so many aggressive drops by Terran that you'll never, like on this map for instance, you'll never have anything important on this side of your base. It'll all be over here because of drops like that. Like, yeah, you unpowered 2 gateways, but guess what? He didn't kill a forge that was upgrading. He didn't kill an expensive tech building. It's all good. Very late blink this game. That's fine. It just kind of fits with the style that he's been playing here. Blink is pretty useful though. And NaDa is actually looking like he just wants to cut this map in half. That is pretty cool. What he's basically doing with these planetaries is making this area that is like completely cost inefficient to attack into. It is so messy to attack into multiple planetaries, and he has his Vikings sitting there, and he has Ghosts, Marines, Marauders, whatever. That's hard to attack into, especially when you have a lot of Zealots like Todd has right now. Look at that, it's 24 Zealots in his army. Looks like he's just going to expand again in response because this is kind of like a defensive setup. Also, this is a great point for NaDa to stage attacks from. It's kind of adding some more barracks up. Was that a nuke? Wait a minute. Ah, okay, so NaDa is beginning nuking, and this is becoming more and more popular in PvT right now, or TVP. Excuse me, hold on a second. Throat's getting dry. Okay, so nukes are becoming pretty, you know, big right now in this matchup. You know, this is a common warp-in location for Todd, so I see why he's kind of nuking right there. You know, if anything were to pop out and, you know, be under that nuke, that's great. It's cloaked. Is it out of range? No, it's not actually. Todd can see that, so not the absolute best place. Whatever. But I like that he is going for some nukes. In fact, he does have 4 nuke silos, and you know, nukes don't cost any supply in this game, so we're seeing it more and more, only for 100. You know, you hit 1 good nuke on their army or something like that, it's pretty huge. Excuse me. So, nice little drop over here. NaDa goes over, he realizes where everything is for Todd. Todd's sending his entire army up here. That's kind of dangerous. If NaDa realizes the entire army's there, he can easily come up here and kill off a base. I mean, what do we really have here? 2-3 photon cannons? So that was a little bit messy by Todd to send up his entire army. And that was messy by NaDa not to realize when that all came up. You know, I think he was barely looking at that drop. I think he didn't really pay any attention to it. Because if he had seen that, he could have easily moved up. Does he even know about that base yet? Yeah, he does, so that could have been an easy base kill. Oh my god. Okay, so we had some huge EMPs 1 second ago. I'm going to go back to that. Okay, so out comes the army. What does Todd see right now? Okay, we're going to slow this down a little bit. There are the Ghosts. And he has the watchtower. Ooh, my god. Oh my god, he just got basically everything. Look at that. That is like the sickest spread of EMPs. This is like possibly a kill timing for NaDa. They're both maxed, but everything. Look at that. He doesn't have any sentry energy anymore. He has 1 High Templar with a Psystorm. The Archons have been hurt, or some of them have been. A lot of the units with no shields. And all the Colossi are out of position. Like, these Vikings can just start nailing on the Colossi. So this is the big blunder of the game right now, up to this point. And look at that. Oh my. Oh my indeed. He even has it on 2 different places. Oh, look at that. A nuke mid-battle. And, oh my god. Sorry, I just need to watch this to see if it hits. It doesn't actually do that much, that little thing. Now, how many gates does Todd actually have right now? Alright, so Todd is only on 12 gates, so this is actually really hard to remake from. He does have the 2 robos going, but only 12 gates, so that's 24 supply at a time. So basically, he needs 2 more rounds. Well, at least 1.5 more rounds if he makes 2 more Colossi as soon as these 2 pop out, to actually re-max. And so that's kind of scary. This is a scary moment right now for him. How many barracks does NaDa actually have? Oops. Let's see here. Alright, so he's producing a lot more all at once. You know, the units for Terran make quicker. He has a lot of reactors on there. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 reactor barracks. That's, you know, that's basically, he's rebuilding his army very quickly. You can see, of course, he won the battle as well, so he's already up in supply. Now, Todd has to go so defense right now. But, NaDa, where are the rest of your units? He is streaming them across the map. Todd has a pretty nice defensive position. You know, he has the cannons there to help out. You'd be surprised how much they actually can help out. These Vikings not going to be very worthwhile in any battles right now. The Archons still, most of them have decent health. We see 3 of them here with very decent health. I just started nuke again. NaDa taking more bases and more planetaries, kind of crazy. NaDa at this point just nuking absolutely anything. Let's see if we can find some more interesting stuff. I don't want to just do like a play-by-play here. And, wow, very nice. Kills off that Nexus between a little bit of harassment and some nukes. I like the constant nuke pushing. It's like this really cool thing we're starting to see. And look at this, if he gets another cancel on this, what is Todd even going to be mining from? He's got this base and this one. He's in a pretty hard spot, but oh my god, that's a lot of very good EMPs. He does have a lot of Psystorms in the back, though. Wow, Psystorm is pretty good. And he even keeps 2 of those Colossus alive. That's a really good job. But still, there's this whole bunch of stuff in the middle that NaDa just keeps running back to. You know, he has a sensor tower, he knows where the army is. Look at that. He knows exactly what's going on. You can't catch NaDa off guard here. Now this is a kind of interesting attack here. He still had some Psystorms, and in fact he still has some Psystorms coming up. And it's the new Mass High Templar approach that is so nice. Yeah, there's some planetaries, but the planetaries need backup, and these units cannot be backup right now because of how many High Templars there are. So the High Templars are just going to walk in, and if they're trying to back up at all, there's no ghosts, of course. We already had that battle with the ghosts. The ghosts burned their EMPs and died. In fact, how many ghosts does he even have right now? He has 2, and I'm not even sure where they are right now. I think they probably just popped out of a barrack somewhere. I'm not sure where. Or there's 1. That guy's not helping. And I'm not sure where the other is right this second. But basically, these High Templars are going to push everything back. And finally, Todd can break this. This was actually... He was very calm about this. This took a while for him to get an opportunity to actually kill these off. If he had attacked into these at another time when there were ghosts, Vikings, and a lot of units over here, I mean, as this walks up, he just starts EMPing. You know, the Viking has insane range. What is it, like 10? It sits on top of the planetary and hits, you know, the Colossus. What do? Walk forward with the Stalkers to get hit by this. Then he kind of sims forward. So this was the time where there weren't enough ghosts to actually EMP off High Templars that are coming up to help this all attack the walls. So what are you going to do? You can't stand here and have your units behind attacking these Zealots, then moving up and attacking these Archons, and then moving up and attacking these, because the High Templars will roast them. So very calmly, Todd has waited, and now he's got kind of some map control going on for basically the first time in this game. Alright. Well, no, let's just keep playing this, see how this goes right here. Todd being a little bit more scared now. I think this is a good idea to wait for the more Colossus to come up. In those areas you want a lot of Colossus. And oh, that was a little bit risky. Now, see, that's the type of scenario NaDa wanted the whole time. He has some ghosts in here, he has a good army, he has some Vikings, and Todd attacked into the planetary, forced him away. So now Todd is, you know, can he attack here? No, that's a planetary, that's kind of rough. It's a hard scenario. And ooh, is he nuking over here? Yeah. Good nukes, man. Really good nukes. Did Todd actually get observer speed? I'm going to have to check that in a second. But this is a slightly dangerous scenario, but plenty of Psy Storms still in there. Todd's starting to get a little bit more aggressive, getting a good Colossi count. And where is that thing? He did not get observer speed yet. I really wish he had. Against all these ghosts, that would be very, very useful. Just throw one of those on an extra hotkey. Now, this is... Oh, sorry. This is what I was talking about before. If you attack through here with the unit composition that Todd had before that was Colossiless, what they do is things like make this arc. You notice the arc that not engaged in? That's why he's kind of holding this off. Even though Todd has a better army here, he has a lot of Colossi, he's had Psy Storms, a ton of Archons, great upgrades, all that. Now, I mean, what are you going to do? He doesn't have any sentries with this army. If you have sentries with your army, you have your Colossi over here, sometimes you can do funny things like just force field there, and then Terran like can't really engage you. You can just pick off a command center, run out, something like that. But Todd is kind of attacked into this arc, so NaDa has been as cost efficient as he could have hoped. Who came out on top there? It's a little bit hard to say, because yeah, the ghosts are gone, the medevacs are gone, but that was a lot of Colossi, a lot of Archons. That was a lot of units lost, basically. This game is getting a little bit down and dirty. There's a lot of nukes going off everywhere. Now both players are kind of low on economy. Let's look at the income tab. Well, mules, I guess. That's a lot more mining than I expect to see from NaDa. But you know, this is not a huge number for Todd, and that's actually closer to what NaDa is going to be at when the mules die. So this is a hard part. You know, at this point, you don't really add more gates. You're like, okay, this is kind of my production for the rest of the game. The map's becoming a little bit mined out here. In fact, oh my god, this replay is still so long. I don't know if I'll have time for the second one today. But anyways, you know, eventually you want to have the ultimate unit composition. Todd's kind of had it a few times, NaDa's kind of had it a few times. But now you have to decide, like, for instance, Todd has made a ton of charge lots right now. And of course, charge lots are good. They're great to warp in, especially after a battle, because they like rally in really quickly and can help clean up decimated forces and stuff. But there's still planetary out. Is there going to be more planetaries? I'm not completely sure, because this map is going to mine out. If you look at the actual time on this map, it's going to happen. Let's go ahead and fast forward a little bit. Todd trying to get those final upgrades, the last plasma shield. Just non-stop nukes from NaDa. Trying to kill off that Nexus, in fact. And it looks like Todd finally going to go after these expansions that we rarely see taken by anyone. Barely not killing that. NaDa right now, his minerals, a decent amount there. This one's going to be gone a little bit sooner. No gas even taken. Sometimes it is hard to spend gas in Terran vs. Protoss. A lot of times, you know, they don't have really super gas-heavy units like Archons and High Templars and whatnot that they like to use in the matchup, at least. Looks like he's floating his natural command center over. Now this spot here, this should become probably the new point of contention, because the map has basically been half map, half map. You know, here's Todd's half, here's NaDa's half. They've traded back and forth very evenly throughout. You can even see they're both max. They both have very similar bank numbers. Look at that, 500 more minerals for NaDa right now, 100 more gas for Todd. At the max, both players completely upgraded, and Todd's taking this space. Now, does NaDa counter that by taking this space and turtling it up, or does he counter that by trying to kill this space? You know, you have to do one. You can't just let him take the map, the expansion that's exactly in the middle of the map. So that should be where the rest of the battles really are focused around at this point, and both of them should realize that, and Todd should try his best to fortify this well, and NaDa should try his best to actually somehow get rid of this. Continuing his nukes. So funny. I like this little snipe a lot. sniping something like an orbital. It looks like he doesn't actually get the snipe, but if you can snipe an orbital at this point, I mean, that's mules gone. How many SCVs are actually left? Oh, still 55 SCVs on the map. That's quite a few. We do have that +3 Viking attack on the way. And has he gotten observer speed yet? There we go. Finally getting observer speed. You know, if your opponent is actually going, well, if at all, if you go super late game, I feel like observer speed is one of the most important upgrades you can get. You can really zip around, figure out where his army is instantly. It's great to have one just like on an extra hotkey somewhere, so that you can just pull it up when there's ghosts nuking or some banshees even possibly in a later game. And wow, he's just going to throw down more command centers. Looks like NaDa wants to retake the center of this map. Now, taking the center of the map is cool and nice, and he does have the unit composition again that really supports these planetaries. But again, I feel like this is such an important area of the map, and this is such an important area of the map. This is really becoming a game where, you know, those two bases are going to be all that's left very shortly. And of course they are on high ground, so it's going to be a little bit easier to hold. I'm really surprised that NaDa isn't getting a little bit more aggressive with that. Even just nuking the cannons off or something. Alright, so with DTs out, NaDa going to throw up some more turrets. Makes sense. More harassment. Todd pretty quick. Todd always pulling his probes out. Wow, that was quick. They came back in. Still not mining from here. There we go. Finally sending his probes up, realizing, forget, I'm not going to run away from this every 2 seconds. So he has this base mining very well, and it looks like NaDa finally deciding, okay, I'm going to take this base. He's throwing up a ton of command centers. And in fact, these command centers, I wonder if he's going to float these up here and maybe make planetaries like planetary or something like that. Or perhaps start making a few more orbitals. It could go either way, because at this point he has a big bank, they're both max. He might be going for the ultimate max, where you actually kill off most of your SCVs, you use them mostly for mining gas and building buildings, and then you use mules for your minerals. So I'm not entirely sure what he wants to do with that, but either one is actually a pretty decent choice at this point. You know, like when you're maxed out and have a bunch of bank, cannons are great, you know, planetaries are great, mules are great, that type of thing. Those are really supreme late game things. So he's killed off this Nexus once, that's good. Nice point of contention. Looks like Todd kind of getting ready to possibly take this space as well. I love that DT warp in. Just be as annoying as possible. Now he has to repair that. That's annoying to repair. So try to spread your opponent very thin throughout the map. I wonder if he'll even end up repairing that. Yeah, there we go. And where are these nukes going off? Oh, more and more nukes over here. It's actually crazy. 55 probes, 55 SCVs. Ooh, that's a very hurt army, and nice size storm there. But he does kill it off again. So yeah, these battles just kind of occurring up there. Keep it going fast where there's not as much interesting strategic things to really go over right this second. The game's just kind of a little bit crazy, nukes everywhere. People are probably dying for this to actually be casted instead of analyzed. It's such a fun game. Extreme amounts of high Templars around. I still feel like it's a few too many Zealots in this composition. I feel like you need, in this super, super late game, you know, some more Colossus mixed in. He does have 4 more High Templars, Archons, Stalkers, less Zealots. Those Zealots, I mean, they're good, and he shouldn't just throw them away or anything, but... Oh, we haven't seen a lot of Warp Prism Harass, but at least a little bit going on. I'm not sure exactly what else we're going to find here that's going to be overly insightful. This is just like kind of the crazy stages of the game that we don't see nearly enough. People don't have a lot of practice in these stages yet. That's like an interesting 3 planetary, by the way, to have them all right there. I thought for sure he'd be trying to lift them up and take this area. But it's hard to hold both. You know, he can't really, he has to choose one or the other. If he has those up there, I mean, Todd's route to attack here or there is so much quicker than NaDa's route to defend there or defend here. So he has to choose one. So it looks like he's chosen here. These 3 planetaries are weirding me out a little bit. Like, is he thinking there's going to be an attack coming down there? Is this like one of his last refuges? This area is a lot more naked. I'm a little bit confused by it. But it looks like, anyways, Todd wants to go ahead and push through again. He has a lot of Archons there in front. What do we have for ghosts? We have 4 ghosts. Are they all right? There's 3. I think the 4th... I don't know where the 4th is. He's hiding. Anyways, you know, this is going to be pretty brutal, actually, because NaDa doesn't have a huge amount of ghosts. You know, he has the planetaries, which is nice, but these High Templars are going to be so powerful. You can't really hold these positions. You have to be dodging storms. You can't stand under storms. So it feels like Todd should be able to break through here very easily from here. It's hard to hold locations like that when Protoss has Infinity High Templars and Colossi and Archons. They just have, there's like so much health on this army because of these. I mean, yeah, sure, you can EMP these things off. It's probably a good choice, in fact. It'll help your Vikings actually hit the Colossi. But there's still a lot of Stalkers, and once the Vikings get too close, the Psi Storms go off. It's messy. I like that he continually tries to nuke the army. Again, if one nuke hits that, that's like, that can be game over. And he just continually nukes as Todd comes up. I like that a lot. That's, you know what this is akin to is when Terran's pushing forward and you're just kind of like, I can't do this right now, and you throw up a force field wall just to keep him completely out. And that's basically what he's doing here. Of course, you know, nukes cost a bit more, but that's kind of the game plan. Just keep throwing up nukes, and Todd has to run away. What's he going to do? Get nuked? No. Alright, so Todd taking yet another high ground base. And yeah, he just goes ahead and cancels it. I really like that defense by NaDa, but at this point it looks like Todd just is going to have too much. You know, NaDa has mined out his half of the map completely. He has 50 minerals. He's trying to come over here, but Todd has already secured these spots. You know, it's hard because let's say, for instance, I think that this game could have gone like this or base trade scenario. In the super late game, because NaDa set up the planetaries, which is okay, cool, I mean that's nice, but if he leaves the planetaries with enough forces to actually kill off these bases that are so important, then the planetaries die, and then it's like, if he doesn't make the planetaries, then Todd can walk over and start killing his production, and that's GG, so NaDa would have to walk over and kill Todd's production, and then it's kind of like a base trade. But NaDa tried, it looks like what NaDa did this game, as it got really late, was said, okay, I'm going to sit in the middle, and this Protoss is going to wash up against me, and I'm going to hold him off. And he's going to get cost inefficient, I'm going to get cost efficient, and eventually I'm going to win. But Todd played really, really intelligently. He didn't rush into the planetary fortresses, and that's important. He only attacked them when he knew that he had the advantage at them. And, you know, that's something that we don't see a lot of Protosses do. A lot of times Protosses will be like, crap, he has the middle of the map, I gotta do it. But instead, he just calmly took additional bases. He calmly defended. Nukes didn't get him flustered, losing extra bases. There were times where NaDa had 4 mining bases and Todd had like 1. And he stayed very calm about it. And that's really why he ended up winning, because NaDa was waiting for significant mistakes from Todd, and Todd didn't give him those significant mistakes. He waited and attacked when he could, and defended when he could, and expanded when he could. And so it looks like NaDa, his plan has backfired. If he had played, you know, there are so many, you know, Todd is just, he's a smart player. There are so many players that are so talented, so good, but their skill, their specific skill doesn't happen to be, you know, one that's very intelligent. You know, they would do something like attack into that area. So kudos to Todd for this game. It's obviously a win for him, as you can see. NaDa just has nothing left here. I'll just finish this up so we can see the finale. People will probably be sad if I didn't. NaDa does kill that off, but again, Todd has bank, NaDa has 0. And goodbye, SCVs. SCVs never stood a chance. Todd just trying a zoning defense still. Leaves nothing up here. Ouch. And NaDa with 0 money and almost no supply. Oh, looks like that nuke does go off. But Todd's right there. He doesn't really even have medevacs at this point. And let's get to that GG. So, that was a really interesting game. Thank you so much to Todd from Fnatic for giving me that replay to go over. I definitely will be trying to do some more of his in the future if he is so inclined. Really smart Protoss player. I enjoyed that quite a bit. I hope you guys did as well. Let's check what time it is. Only 4 minutes in the Artosis hour, but I kind of said I would do Juan against NesTea. So I don't know. I guess that I can go ahead and jump into that. I'll make this just a slightly longer opening episode. Don't want you guys to think I'm only going to do Protoss ones. The Artosis hour will not always be 1 hour. Okay. This is Juan, aka Terran, Princess, Kitty, whatever. It's the Mexican player that played at BlizzCon, and I brought over to Korea to join TSL for a bit, and then he left, and now he's back. A very talented player indeed. And he is going up against NesTea. It's NesTea. It's the god of Zerg. He's so good. He's so smart. The map is Antigua Shipyard. This was just a ladder game. It wasn't a practice game or anything like that. So we'll go ahead and just go over this one pretty quickly. Oh, Jesus, that's a long game too, 30 minutes. Well, all of it fast-forwarded pretty well. So just very standard by NesTea. It looks like, I'm going to call him Juan. He's using Nongi, that's an old Starcraft 1 name from a pro. I'm going to go ahead and just call him Juan because he has too many IDs, and that's his name in real life, Juan. So here we go. It looks like he's doing the 1 Rax expansion. And right now, Hellion expands are really popular, or expand into Hellion is a little bit popular as well. He's throwing up 2 gas, so it looks to me like he's going to go for Hellions after this. We will see. Very standard by NesTea, getting his queens out, getting his speed done. Just a few Marines being pushed out across the map. And a reactor and factory going up. So yeah, he's going to go reactor Hellions after this. And that's, I actually, recently, I like this build more than reactor Hellions into expand. Because you get that expand up a little bit quicker, you're still safe. And you still get the reactor Hellions out basically in time to stop them from taking their 3rd base and slow down the creep spread. And that's really the 2 things you're aiming to do with reactor Hellions. If you're trying to get reactor Hellions, you're like, oh, I kind of like them earlier because, you know, I sometimes get in there and kill a bunch of drones. Here's the thing. That's you looking for your opponent to make a very basic mistake. And at this level, especially that we're watching right now, Juan against NesTea, is NesTea going to let Hellions in to kill drones? No, man. No, that's not going to happen. So he's taking the more economical approach and using the Hellions for what you know they can do, which is slow down the 3rd base and stop the creep spread. But this game, very interesting, NesTea has gone for a super fast 3rd base and a quick macro hatchery. That is actually, wow, that is craziness, man. He is still mining some gas and getting a Baneling nest. Now, if he's not going reactor Hellions, then, like, for sure this is, like, safe. But he is going reactor Hellions. How many Hellions does he have? None yet. Okay, yeah, 2, and 2 more on the way. So we're going to have to see if NesTea actually holds this fine. That is such a quick 3rd. I haven't actually seen someone do this, even against the slower reactor Hellions. And, okay, so NesTea right now, with those Lings, was just kind of keeping him busy. He was doing whatever he could with them. Dealt some damage to him, which is good. But as long as he can keep him busy down here for a little bit and get his creep spread out, if his creep spread is in front of here, it's going to be harder for Juan to actually push up there. And in fact, he already switched out the factory. So let's say that he continued to make Hellions. Let's see first off how he does against this additional base. He's seen it, and there's a lot of Zerglings out here to try to catch him. And it looks like NesTea does end up holding, but this was a little bit risky, because let's say that he doesn't switch the factory out. If he keeps the factory in the reactor, let's see as he goes up here and harasses the Zerglings a little, and then brings up 4 more Hellions. He keeps 2 of his Hellions alive, you know, a little bit safer on the micro, and then now he has 6 Hellions, and there's 20 Lings popping out. It's like, well, you know, eventually he might deal so much damage, kill so many Zerglings, which costs larva and money, that NesTea's super quick 3rd doesn't work as well. This is kind of a risky thing he did. But it absolutely worked out this time. Now Juan just kind of playing pretty normal, pretty standard, getting into his siege tanks. He took, of course, that really quick third command center. He doesn't want to get too aggressive because, well, you know, if you overextend all your units while expanding, then obviously NesTea can counterattack you and just kill you. Great creep spread right now by NesTea. And the layer going up. It's pretty standard. Playing safe. Now, let's check what NesTea knows. Okay, he hasn't seen the third at all. In fact, he flew by that forever ago. That's why that's lit up. His Overlord went over there a long time ago. It looks like that Overlord was probably to check for gases, which he hasn't checked yet. And, of course, it does check for SCVs, so he'll know when the expansion's up. He never saw the third command center. In fact, he's seen no buildings at all this game. So NesTea doesn't really know what's going on right here. He needs to get a little bit more scouting done, but, of course, it's going to be hard. Juan is up here clearing out some of the creep, which is quite nice, of course. But now he's going to fly over Creep Tumor, so, of course, this drop should not do anything to NesTea. And yeah, he's everywhere. He's ready. Creep Tumors are good at scouting. Juan, on the other hand, just playing kind of a defensive game here. Only one siege tank out so far. He's got to be careful about that. You know, if NesTea had chosen to go some other tech route, let's say that he had chosen to go Roach Baneling speed as quickly as he possibly could, he could barrel through here easily. But of course he's not. He's playing a much more standard game here. And in fact, going Spire. There it is. Alright, so more barracks going up. Good upgrade timing. He's got the +1, and he's going to go for 2-1 in a second here with that armory. NesTea getting Baneling speed and a ton of lings right now. What's his drone count? 75. That's a pretty good drone count right now for 3 bases. And, uh-oh. He should be fine. Baneling speed still on the way. 12 mutas on the way. And, in fact, Juan doesn't really do any damage there. In fact, NesTea didn't even really use Banes. So, right now, I think NesTea knows everything that's going on. Let's take a look at that. You can basically tell. You've seen this bunker here. You know that the third has been taken. In the meantime, let's see what Juan knows. He knows about the Spire. He knows, yeah, he basically knows everything. So these two players have pretty much full information about each other. They know what's going on. NesTea knows right now that he needs to get another base up, like immediately. He's going to have to do that. Unless he's going for a kill right now, which it really doesn't look like, he's going to have to do that. Like that Viking just kind of pushing away Overlords, trying to make drop paths that can be used a little bit later on. NesTea trying to go for another base. Might have to fly his mutas over there or send some lings. That Marine is going to be so annoying. And look at this. I like this because right now, a lot of times, you know, everyone does take a 4th base eventually, but he's going to take the 4th base reasonably quickly. The supplies are pretty even. 183 for NesTea, 169 for Juan. So it looks like he's just going to push up, try to take a gold. Clean this up while NesTea is taking 2 bases. I love that NesTea is taking 2 bases right now. Taking just 1 is a little bit dangerous. Like, let's say he takes this one only, and a drop comes while his mutas are down here. Is he going to hold this against 1 medevac drop with these mutas down here? No, he's absolutely not. So even if one of these dies, he'll have the other one up. The only thing is, Juan is very quickly taking this base. So let's say that Juan does kill one of these bases, and Juan gets this command center down and starts dropping mules on the gold, takes the center. NesTea is going to be screwed. So he has to start getting things done very quickly here. He's taking out some turrets, doing a little bit of harassment, keeping those mutas alive very well. In fact, he's going for a second Spire, isn't he? Oh no! I somehow did not catch a drop that killed the Spire. Sorry about that. Oh well. Not a huge deal. It's just, you know, a drop. It sneaked by his defenses and killed his Spire. So he's going to be a little bit Spire light. A little bit mutilite, rather, compared to what he would like to be. So he is making a lot more Banelings right now. You may as well. You have all that gas. He's getting the Infestation Pit. Looks like he knows that it's time to go ahead and get some Broodlords out. He's going to have to tick up to that hive reasonably quickly, but I wonder if he's going to go for any Infestors. Let's take a look at the siege chain count. It is at 7, so you know, when you get to a certain siege chain count, you want to have Broodlords out, because basically what Broodlords are going to do is shoot the Broodlings. The siege tanks deal friendly splash damage to their units. So you want basically, as a Terran, you want to unsiege those tanks as quickly as possible. But once you unsiege Banelings and Festers, they just ravage the Terran army. Without those siege tanks in siege mode, you're going to die to Zerg. So we'll have to see what his plan is exactly for that. Because right now, this is a hard spot for him to be in. You know, Juan is taking the space, making a planetary, moving tanks to high ground. You know, he's had this base for a long time. His economy is great. NesTea has to get something crazy done. He needs to do something right now. And so it looks like we're going to go ahead and see what that is going to be. Targeting down this planetary a little bit, but well, there's only one siege tank right there. And in fact, his Muta's coming over and killing some additional siege tanks. The Banelings being kind of cost inefficient there, but NesTea just did a great job. Looks like this planetary will end up going down. You can just go ahead and target that. But in the meantime, you know, the game is not over. NesTea just did a great job. He killed off a lot of units. His supply lead has grown a little bit. And of course, taking out this gold, which, as I was saying before, very important. But Juan looks like he might be able to take out this base. Will NesTea go straight up there? Well, sure he will, because this is going to take like one more volley. So this planetary definitely going to die. And then he's going to have to fly up here as quickly as he can and see if there's any possibility of saving this hatch. Because if he can be on 5 base against 3, that's great. If it's 4 base against 3, still a hard game. And let's see. The Muta's going to start flying up. Fast forward this a little bit. And actually, he's just going for a counterattack here. Okay, so, I mean, there weren't that many Lings here to begin with. And there are 2 siege tanks. Is that it? So he's thinking, okay, only 2 siege tanks. My Banelings can get in here and hit the Marines. And the thing is, if he does get in here and hit the Marines with these Banelings, like, basically if all these Marines die, Juan is in a lot of trouble. He does have a lot of production going on, 11 Marines at a time. But this will give him a lot of time with these Mutas to actually be able to go up here, kill some SCVs. If the tanks are gone, that really resets how long it takes for Juan to move out across the map. So let's take a look. And he hits, actually, a lot of those Banelings on the siege tanks. Doesn't really kill the Marines off. Juan did run them away. And with more reinforcements, I mean, he might deal some damage in here, sure, but what has NesTea really accomplished with this counterattack? He's lost all of his Mutas. Every single Muta's dead, well, except for these 3, which might just go ahead and die anyways. He's lost a lot of Banelings, and just a small amount of Zerglings. The Zerglings don't matter as much. And in the meantime, we have a drop up here by Juan. So this is actually, it feels like this is maybe the big mistake of NesTea. If he had a lot more Zerglings with that group he attacked down with, I feel like this would have worked out a lot better. He needed more Zerglings to take a little bit more of the damage than the Banelings. The Banelings hit the siege tanks so quickly. The Mutas were kind of attacking a bunker instead of siege tanks. It just got kind of messy. And with all these Marines left over, Juan has saved his 3rd base. It looks like these units rally down. This is not really anything to be scared of. And, I mean, he's definitely killing off some workers over here. So, to have the presence of mind to drop over here while the army's down here, I mean, he probably expected the Mutas to come up and clean out his medevac right after he killed this hatch. It didn't happen, so load it up, drop somewhere else. And those Mutas are just going to die. I mean, that is actually really telling when you see the Zerg just throw away those Mutas right there. He has nothing mining over here. 3rd base, fine on his saturation, but he's sitting here on 3 base. He hasn't gone hive yet. Looks like he is going to go for some infestors. In fact, he's restarting his Mutalisk production. But here's the thing. No upgrades on these Mutas. Let's take a look at the upgrades on the Marines. He's on 2-1, getting 3. He is getting the flyer attack, but you want to keep your Mutas alive. If you're going to actually just continually make Mutas all game, you need to keep them alive, and that's not something he did. He sacrificed them in the attack down here. I have to say, I really feel like that after NesTea killed this, even though he's losing this base, it was basically a gamble to attack down here and try to kill this area. If he had gone back and just defended up here, you know, stopped any damage from happening up here, kept his Mutalisk count high, continued to build his Mutalisks, drone up down here, stuff like that, then I feel like NesTea would be in a decent lead right now. You know, Juan would be sitting here. He'd have 2 siege tanks more than he has right now. He'd have some more Marines than he has right now, but NesTea would have a huge flock of Mutas. He would still have a lot of Banelings and a decent amount of Zerglings, a better economy. So it feels like that was actually like that was definitely the part of the game where everything really, really changed, I would have to say. I guess that's one way to put it. So now Neste is like trying to get into a decent mid-game in the late game. That's what's happening right now. This is like a mid-game army that we're seeing. He is switching over to Infestors a little bit. But I mean, he doesn't really have a lot of choices here anyways. And I mean, yeah, look at that. This base will fall. And I mean, doesn't seem like there's too much more to this game. This is not a very winnable position for Neste. Juan is remaking his base for his 4th. Any attacks that come down aren't working. The Mutalisk count is still very low. He's still making the Mutalisks. You really needed to keep those alive all game. It's like siege tanks for Terran, Mutas are, or maybe even more so in some matchups. You need to keep them alive. They become exponentially more powerful together. Small groups like this, nothing. You know, how many Mutalisks did he actually make this game? If he had all of them still, or some, you know, you'll lose some here and there no matter what. If he had an attack down here and lost, you know, a good 12 of them, 12 more Mutas right now, I mean, he flies around, cuts off all reinforcements. Juan has to keep his entire army together. If he moves too far up, Neste maybe counters into the main base and starts hitting things. Of course, you got to be careful because there can be counterattacks and stuff like that, but the supply is still even. Yeah, that was definitely the part that Neste made a mistake on, I would say. Oh, I like that. Saved the drone on the extractor. Remade that hatch. Well, right now this is a pretty hard spot. Neste's continuing to upgrade these mutas. He's getting a very good muta count at this point, but this is super late game. This is 22 minutes in, and that is painful. Losing a lot of mutas right there. And well, I mean, I can tell this is gonna end, man. This is not good for Neste. Mined out of his main, mined out of his natural. He's mining on one base against Terran with the gold. He's still got another base worth of minerals sitting around as well. He's got a good army. He's got the center. This is going to end pretty quickly here. And we have Juan switching into ghosts very smartly, throwing in a Thor there as well to help out. This is going to be a very bad position to attack into, but it is going to happen. Take a look at that battle. Yeah, there's not much better that Neste could have done after he lost everything, and oh my god, he actually just killed so much. Neste, how do you do it? Oh, and then every Baneling hits a Thor. Ouch. And then this Thor doesn't die. Ouch. Oh wow, that's actually so funny. All those Banelings hitting the Thor actually may have changed everything once again. If he had brought those Banelings around and maybe gone after SCVs or something, maybe this game looks different even then. Neste is amazing. I don't know how he does things like this, because it looked like a dead position for a Zerg right there. Alright, so it looks like a good 20 supply up. The economy very low of Neste, so he's trying to move up once again here. A lot of ghosts in here. Good snipes. Picking off a few infestors. Oh boy. Yeah, that was a good nuke. And that's going to be it. I mean, even sniping Zerglings at this point. Alright. So that looks like it was about it. You know, Neste took a slight gamble attacking down into this area earlier on. I know I've harped on it quite a bit. But that's really the turning point of this game. It's hard to learn too much after that because it became a very difficult position for Neste, who was still on layer tech, lost a lot of mutas, but still was in the mindset of I need to get a lot of mutas. Alright, so we'll just go ahead and fast forward this all the way. Yeah, Banelings versus Thors, kind of gross. And just snipe the broodlings. That'd be funny. Alright, so that is it. Guys, I hope that you liked the show. It was fun. I think I'll be doing it. I want feedback, so let me know on Twitter. I am at twitter.com/Artosis. And of course, in the Team Liquid thread, where is it? The Artosis Hour. Go ahead, post in there. I'd like feedback, maybe suggestions and stuff like that. Like if there's maybe certain like replays that are out there, or certain styles that maybe I should keep my eye open for, something like that. So yeah, thank you all for watching. I guess that is it for now, and I'll see you guys later. Thank you so much.